Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
You guys ready for crypto for dummies? Because I'm kind of a crypto noob myself. Got Charlie from Cultivate Crypto and Miguel today. We're going to talk about their new program also. But a lot of guys that are into the red pill space are also into crypto. I know I am. I've been into it for a while. I thought maybe you guys would be interested too. So no question is too dumb. There you go. Gentlemen, welcome. I'm going to unmute you right now. I've got Charlie. Oh, see, there you go. There's your lead in. And Miguel. It's going, guys.
I like
enough of that. I got to start it proper. Everybody's expecting me to do that when I do live streams. I have recently been doing a lot of let's say YouTube shorts and like 30-minute clips and so when I do live streams I have to make it official. So I have you guys finally here. I have a lot of guys. I know there's a lot of dudes that are in the manosphere, in the red pill community, that are into crypto. Again, this is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I realize that, but I know that enough guys are into trading and everything else. And so I thought I'd have you guys on. I know you guys have a new program here. It is Crypto Mindset that is coming up for Q2. So let's just throw that out there before anybody else gets settled. And let me take off the echo. There you go. So, how you guys doing?
We're going good. We're going very good. We got 700 plus people in the course at the moment, and just working on spreading the good word of crypto over here. Mm-hmm. So appreciate you for having us on today.
So really this is okay. First of all, this is the second one you've done. This is Q2, 3.
Yeah. So we did one in Q4 2020, then we did one in Q1 for this year, and then this is for preparing for Q2 of this year.
Okay, and I know you do a Wednesday show with John from Modern Life Dating.
Correct.
And talk about what's going on in the cryptocurrency arena. I'm going to take questions from guys here because whenever I endorse like a class or some sort of project or course or whatever the hell you want to call it, I like to sort of like dig into it and before I usually like wait 1 or 2 courses before I get into it. But again, this is kind of out of my wheelhouse, so that's why I wanted to bring you guys on so I can ask you some questions and some of my guys can ask you questions as well. So I'm going to approach this, as I was saying before, from a complete like noob perspective. And I realize that Bitcoin's been around for a while. I've seen the documentaries, by the way, on crypto and blockchain and everything. And I have a basic understanding of blockchain and the encryption thing, but maybe that would be a good place to start. Because I know that blockchain is not just for currencies; it's also for other things as well. Like recently, I was reading this thing about NFTs.
Yes.
Which are, if you can explain those, that would be really good. Because I know that like people are like selling like unique pieces of art right now online that you can only get through a blockchain system. So maybe you can give a quick breakdown of like what blockchain is and why it's such a big deal.
Sure, I can go on blockchain, and then I'll let Miguel take care of the NFTs, and we'll go at it that way. Apologies in advance just for the green screen effects. Basically, it's morning here in Japan and Tokyo, so got the lighting here pretty intense every once in a while. It is what it is. But just to kind of go on the basics of blockchain. So blockchain is a distributed ledger. That's probably, if you're going to put it down to simply what that is, that's the best way to put it. Another way to put it is that it's a slow database. Now, why in the hell would you want a slow database when you can have like a centralized database which goes fast? Essentially, it's a place that you can have records over a group of people who don't necessarily know each other or maybe won't even trust each other, but it's a way to have that information distributed so that it can't be changed in the future and so that everybody can trust the information that's there. So if you kind of think about it like a glorified Excel spreadsheet, right? Bitcoin has one block that takes about 10 minutes to fill, and then all the transactions of all the Bitcoin transactions which are happening during that 10 minutes are put into that block. And then in terms of how it's used for a currency, right, people mine that block and try to solve an algorithm to produce a new block and then confirm those transactions in the blockchain, and they get rewarded with some Bitcoin because of that. And then each block that gets confirmed in the blockchain produces more Bitcoin, but then also secures the network, both in terms of showing that the transactions won't be changed in the future, and then B, so that the network is secure and can't be hacked. So that's the basics of it. And I know sometimes when I mentioned that, like some of the analogies hit, some of them don't, but that's the basic idea of blockchain in general.
Cool.
And it can be used for other things like supply chain. I think IBM had done a lot of things with supply chain. They recently closed down that division, but I would say the currency part of it incentivizes people to try to build this out, because there's a meme in crypto, right? It says we're in it for the tech, and it has a guy with gold chains all down his arm just saying, hey, we're in it for the tech. But it's obviously people want to make money, right? So incentivizing people to do something together that otherwise they wouldn't do is kind of how crypto works. And there we go.
Nice. Miguel, what's the NFT? Tell me what an NFT is.
All right. Well, an NFT is a non-fungible token. So basically, it's a picture with an ID that's on the blockchain. So basically, let's just say I decided to make a this is an NFT, right? So you go to a place to make an NFT. You essentially sign yourself up, and I'm ROLLO TOMASSI. Perfect, verified. Then from there, when you create your NFTs, someone could take a picture of, like, let's just say this picture was the one you made, and I took a picture of it. You could say I own it, but technically, when you would sell it on a third-party site, you can make as many you can only make a certain amount of copies of it. So let's just say you made this picture right here of one of one, and you sold it for $100. Now this is the only one that's actually real, the verified one. Just like there's like anyone can make a copy of the Mona Lisa and just give it to anybody. It's just a cheap copy, but there's only one Mona Lisa. So it's the same thing with this. So it's a way to verify like digital art on the blockchain or on the internet that's actually real. So now you can tell what's actually like fake and what's actually the legitimate thing. Okay,
so blockchain has a lot of different uses anyways, as far as, or it potentially has a lot of different uses. Everybody is focusing primarily on currency because I understand there's also like some downsides to this too. Like you can launder money with it, and there's drug transactions and stuff like that in the dark web. So I get it. And do you think that that's, maybe that's a good question. Do you think that that's why a lot of like bigger companies, I mean, obviously not Tesla now, right? But bigger companies have been sort of like hesitant to get into it. Why aren't like big companies just sort of adopting this out of hand?
Yeah, there's two reasons for that. So one, is the narrative that the government spins around it. It's funny that they say, you can do these illegal things with it, but like with a kitchen knife, right? I can make a very good meal with it. I can also shank somebody and kill them with it as well, right? You can use a tool either way, for good or for evil. And so, cash is also used in a way that, to do a lot of those types of transactions globally. So it's not crypto itself that's really creating these problems, right? So I think that's one of the misguided things out there in the media. And I know in the red pill space, we have to talk about how the media is basically there to manipulate the narrative. And that's what we see in finance, like to an extreme. And we also see kind of how human nature evolves around with these types of new technologies. So it's really interesting to how these kind of topics do converge, right, with that. But anyways, what's the best way to answer this question? Essentially, I'm just trying to think here. Could you repeat the question one more time?
I would just why aren't like bigger companies adopting this right now? I know that, and I've heard John talk about this as well, like where he's saying, the government is afraid of crypto, right? And what the potential for what crypto could be to like just the commoners like us, right? But like, why is it a big deal that Tesla has decided that they're going to accept crypto?
Correct. So that was the first portion of the answer, was just simply, the government being a little bit fearful of it, the media being fearful of it. They manipulate people to be fearful of it, essentially. So I think the corporations now have understood what is behind the technology. The other portion of it, though, the reason why corporations didn't get into it sooner is mainly because of liquidity or lack thereof in crypto in general. It's a new asset class. So, I mean, you look at the market cap for all cryptocurrency, about $1.5 trillion is in cryptocurrency right now. That amount of money compared to the global money supply is a drop in the bucket. It doesn't really mean all that much, right? And so before it was only several billions of dollars. Now it's a few trillion. So as it grows, right, it gives the ability for the essentially uber rich and larger companies to park their capital in it. But it's kind of like a chicken and the egg scenario. It's like it wasn't big enough for them before. Now it's just starting to be big enough for them in that space. So they're basically it's that maturity level of the asset finally getting to a certain point that they can invest in it, essentially.
Oh, I see. Cool. Let me ask you guys this. First of all, like, what's your background in all of this? Are you a coder? Or like you guys, the eggheads that you just got into this and you started hanging out with John and now suddenly you guys are popular because of crypto? Or like, what's your background in oh, and I got another question else. First question, how did you guys get into doing all this stuff? Like, what's your background? And then second of all, have you guys ever mined Bitcoin? And what is mining? Let people know what mining is.
Perfect. Yeah, the simple background is in terms of like me meeting John, we used to work together in a company back in 2017, 2018. We both owned some cryptocurrency, and that's kind of the thing that put us together. The first time I met John, I was like, yeah, probably not going to hang out with that dude. It rubs people the wrong way sometimes, right? When you first meet him, he's a little bit brash, right? But then we started talking about crypto. We're like, holy shit, nobody else in this office is seeing this right now. Mm-hmm. And we're like, we're going to get it. And we started having like these long lunches in 2017. Our boss got pissed off, but we were making money. We didn't give a shit. Mm-hmm. And, we had a great time. We were making a lot of money, and we're like, we're making a lot of money for our company. Right. We were doing recruiting at the time, helping global corporations enter Japan, hiring CEOs for those companies, or helping Japanese companies expand abroad, getting global talent. And so we were doing, really interesting work here in Tokyo, working with a lot of interesting people. But, the amount of money we were able to make versus how much we were bringing in just didn't really jive. And so we were thinking, well, in terms of myself, like for John, he had a different route. But for me, I was like, this is an area that I know very well. I was able to make a good chunk of change in cryptocurrency. It's something that I'm very passionate about. So I figured, I saw John decide to go down the YouTube route and build a business that way. And I said, well, I can build a similar type of business, but with crypto. And then we just kind of joined forces that way and helped each other build that business up. And so, we started from, grassroots essentially, but this is a space that, the only form of kind of like a stamp of approval is, are you able to make money in this market or not? If you can, it's still the Wild West. Is still open for people of various backgrounds to get into it. But that's essentially my background. And then I'll ask Miguel how he got into this.
Yeah, how'd you get into this, Miguel?
Yeah, so I was pretty much trading equities since about 2013. And then a lot of the popular YouTubers that I was following at the time on YouTube kept bashing cryptocurrencies, essentially because they were jealous of them, because they were, the people in cryptocurrencies were making so much more compared to equities at the time. This is around 2016 that they kept talking, smack about it for months and months and months and months. I was like, what the hell is going on over here? Then I look in cryptocurrencies. This is late 2016. Bitcoin just went from a couple $100 back up to about $1,000. And I was like, whoa, cool. And then I jump in and then I start learning about the space. One thing Charlie said that was so important is, are you making money in the space? Me and Charlie have been making money in the space since the minute we've got into now. That's kind of one of the big differences. There's a lot of people that can make money, in the last 3 months of the bull market, right? But we know tons of people that just lost money in a bull market and only just made a little bit right at the tail end, just because they don't have any emotional control and they have no investment experience. Right. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I came out with, because I invested in equities is just much slower game. So just having that mentality of being able to set up longer stage moves, doing some research on currencies. That's why my whole investment thesis is I'm a fundamental analysis guy. So I look into cryptocurrencies, I kind of look in the trends, and then I see, will this cryptocurrency work for this cycle? And if it does, I put my money in it, and then I see if my thesis works out, and they have been. I mean, DeFi, and a bunch of these other things that we've been talking about on the Moon Gang show that I did with Charlie has been a big help to a lot of people. We've helped make a lot of people a lot of money over the years, and especially with the courses as well. I mean, I think Charlie can talk a little bit more about the numbers in terms of the courses, in terms of some of the gains some of the people we've taught in the courses have made. But in the course, we take somebody from A to Z, someone who actually doesn't know anything, that doesn't even have an account. We've even had to tell people to learn how to open a bank account.
Yeah, it's gone that far.
Which
That's true.
is what was attractive to me, by the way. I'll just give everybody a really quick rundown of my financial status. Anyways, is I got into crypto back around 2017, and because John from Modern Life Dating hit me up, hey, you really should get into Bitcoin now. I think it was like at 3,800. And now that seems like, oh my God, and so I dropped it, put some money in. I was just kind of playing with it as just another asset, because I have index funds, I have mutual funds, I have stock. And I've been doing that for a while. I tend to be a pretty aggressive investor as it is anyways. And as soon as like Trump took office, that's when I was like, okay, game on. I'm going to get really aggressive with my positionings, right? And then so it was right about that time that John came and said, hey man, you should really try Bitcoin. And then he turned me onto this documentary and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, what's $2,000? Let's throw $2,000 in there and see what happens to it. I didn't even buy a full Bitcoin back then. And then it shot up to like 18 and almost 19. I didn't quite get to 20 in 2017, like towards like October or November of 2017. I'm like, hot damn, this is great. I love you, man. And then in December, it plummets to like 6 or something like that. And I was like, but I'm okay with that. And I think what you were saying as well, Miguel, is I was okay with that because I'm usually a pretty aggressive investor. If I see like, my numbers drop for a day or two or whatever, I'm like, I'm cool with that. I'm just going to wait and hold out, because that's HODL, right? You hold your stuff. And so I'm like, all right, I guess I'll, what am I in it for? $2,000 at this point. And so a little bit along the way, I was feeding a little bit more into it. And then I got into Ethereum and some other stuff too. And I was learning as I was doing it. So that was, I think the education aspect of it was worth investing in it in the first place. But like, and I'm usually pretty risk tolerant, but it's like when it goes to 19,000 down to 6,000, I was like, I don't know if I'm that risk tolerant, but I can imagine like people who put like 10 grand into it, and then suddenly you see a significant drop like that. But that's just how volatile it is. And do you think? And I'm going to get to Sir Mr. Jason. I see your question. I'll put it up here in just a second. But do you think we have seen the end of that kind of volatility? Do you think it could, I know it's at 50 Bitcoin anyways, at 52 right now. Do you think it could drop to like 20?
So this is where the trick comes in for crypto, right? It's really, you have to really keep your fingers on the pulse of the market to really understand those types of things. And I think the majority of new people getting into the market, they don't know where in the market cycle am I getting in? Am I getting in at the top? Am I getting in at the bottom? Where the hell is this thing right now? And where could it go tomorrow? That's the biggest question. And people have the hardest time understanding it. That's what we're really good at. So just to kind of give you a few statistics on like, to ease people's minds, I do not think we go below $30,000 on Bitcoin anytime soon, right? So that's one area to kind of look at as like a short-term floor. In terms of for the rest of time, Bitcoin, in my opinion, will not go below $16,000 ever again. So that's another floor to kind of look at as a safety net. And so we could go into that as to why that is for an entire stream, but I won't, I'll keep it simple. And then in terms of where it's going, right, we are in the earlier stages of the bull market. So I believe we're in the first third of the bull market still. And so we're at $50,000 some dollars for Bitcoin, right? We have at least a $100,000 target, if not 150,000. That would be the conservatively bullish way to look at it. And then towards the top of this bull market, we could see some crazy numbers, right? Like, for example, in the last bull market, we went from 10 to 20K. Over a period of time, and we could go from 100 to 200K in that like 1 month span as well for Bitcoin. So that type of volatility is still here in the market. And so in the course, we also describe how to play defense, how to take care of yourself to not get basically caught stuck in that type of situation, because that you can make a lot of money in this market, but you can also lose a lot of money in this market. So you really, really, really have to take it seriously and understand what you're doing. And so, like Miguel said, we take people from zero who don't really know much about how to get into this market, but are interested. Then we give them all the tools and get them started with the basics. And then we point them in the right direction to do their own research. Our goal is to make, sovereign individuals, people who can take care of their own financial future, and teach them up so they can become independent. Most of these guys out here, they won't give you the time of day to talk to you, on a Zoom call. They'll just give you a cookie cutter, like, here's a recorded thing that I put together, and pay $1,000 for this. And then also they won't take the time to actually give you the resources to learn it by yourself, because they want you to be kind of reliant on them. So you have to come back to them all the time and keep giving them money, or keep supporting their business. Whereas we think it's more powerful if we give people the power to earn money themselves and understand how to do that. And then, if they graduate on from our services, that's great. But I think helping people to earn money that they can use this skill for this entire decade, if not their entire lifetime, I think is much, much more valuable than just, doing a quick transaction on a short course.
Well, I got a question. Here's question time. Here we go. Sir, Mr. Jason says, what's going on, guys? How much money should I invest in? What crypto should I invest with my $1,600 stimulus check? And you're going to get, I'm sure you got that question already, because people are going to start getting these stimulus checks, and they're going to want to know what people told me that now I'm not getting a stimulus check, but like, people say, what are you going to do with your stimulus check? And I said, if I was getting one, I would put it in a Bitcoin and it would hold.
Yep.
So what do you think?
So we can answer those questions, and I will answer it. The one thing, just to, I think John answered these types of questions very well, which is, don't go on the internet asking for financial advice and, just listen and take that advice and not do your own research. That's why we tell people, hey, here's the information, but then here's how we got to that point. And then here's the resources you need to understand why we got to that point. So I can help him and tell him what to do, but he might make money with that in the short term, but then will he know when to take that profit or not is, another question. So just to answer the question, I think, again, he was just saying he's getting the stimulus check and what should he invest into. If you're not sure what cryptocurrency is or which one to get into right now, the more stable, basically Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two most stable coins in crypto. So you want to get into either one of those. Like Rollo said, buy Bitcoin and hold it. Boom, you won't, you'll be good for basically this entire decade. Also, if you want like a little bit more returns in terms of percentage at this point in the bull market, since we're a little bit into it already, buy Ethereum, hold that as well. What I kind of recommend right now at the moment is kind of like 10% Bitcoin, 90% Ethereum for the amount that you're looking to put in. So if it's $1,000, $100 Bitcoin, $90 Ethereum. Then once you understand what's going on in the crypto market, you can then start to look at other coins. But if you don't know what you're doing yet, just stick to the two main ones at the moment.
I see. So I have a question from me. So it's at 52, like Bitcoin's at 52 right now. And I presume that you would suggest, if I wanted to put some money into crypto right now, and I'm looking at this, as I said, I got in when it was like around 3,800, and now suddenly it's 52,000, right? So is it a good idea for me, as I've already put money into it? Is it a good idea for me to buy in right now? Because you guys are talking about, the cap that you're looking at is 100,000. So is it still a good idea to buy Bitcoin, or is it better to buy like smaller coins and sort of like monkey around with those?
So you want to take that one?
Yeah, for sure. So 100,000 is honestly a pretty conservative estimate, if I'm just really being honest. I mean, where I really truly see this market actually hitting is we're probably going to see about $200,000 market cap. I mean, $200,000 price per Bitcoin. And that's more kind of in the middle ground and stuff in terms of where this bull market could go. Obviously, if it does what it did last time, which is about a 10 to 20x from the last all-time high, we could see anywhere from 200,000 to 400,000. 400,000 being a little bit less likely, but 200,000 I think is actually very likely to hit. So with that being said, that means Bitcoin's market cap alone would be well over $2 trillion. No, I'm sorry, 4 trillion. I'm sorry, $4 trillion. And that would pretty much put Ethereum's price, if it were just to even them out, essentially, because it would be 20%, we'd roughly see the price of Ethereum being somewhere between $8,000 to $12,000 per Ethereum at that. So these are the sort of prices that we can see right now. Obviously, the prices are not there right now. I think it's still a great time to purchase cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, me and Charlie are recommending you can still buy Bitcoin, but as long as you're buying under $60,000, and Ethereum under $6,000. Because there's this whole thing with market caps, essentially. I mean, because you come from the equity world, you pretty much know what's going on with the market caps and stuff and everything with that. So with Bitcoin having a larger market cap, it falls prey to something called like the law of big numbers. So it just takes more economic mass and money to push the price up. So when a market cap's a little smaller, like Ethereum, right? Ethereum's a great cryptocurrency, but its market cap is only 20% of Bitcoin's. So it takes 5 times less money essentially to have it ratchet up in price. So that's why you get a larger percentage returns on Ethereum. But but if you look at Ethereum in terms of a cryptocurrency, it's about 90% of there's about 7 to about 8,000 cryptocurrencies in the world. 90% of them are built on top of Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially Ethereum's kind of like the backbone. When you think of cryptocurrency, you're actually thinking of Ethereum, but Bitcoin is really the key brand name of this. It's a savings account of cryptocurrency.
Everybody recognizes that one, right?
Exactly, yeah.
What is it? Okay, so and here's question number 2. So you're talking about like 100,000 is just sort of a conservative estimate, right? I'm looking in the chat here. Some people are saying like 250 grand to $300,000, right?
And some people saying zero, like Peter Schiff.
Yeah. Am I wrong in thinking that Bitcoin has like an upper limit, right? I mean, there's like, I know Ethereum doesn't, but Bitcoin does. And so how does that work? I know that there's only like a limited amount of Bitcoins by design.
Correct. So, I mean, it's supply versus demand. I could show you a chart here that would help.
Maybe here's a better question.
Well. Yeah, sure.
Does Bitcoin, the limitations of Bitcoin, is it outdone by like Ethereum eventually?
I would say no. So there's a couple different things that lead into that answer, right? So one is simply network effect, right? Bitcoin, it is the first, it is the original, it is the one that everybody trusts. It has been attacked a million times here on over by the governments, and it's still surviving, right? Ethereum is a little bit younger, going through a different maturity phase cycle. I think Ethereum right now is like Bitcoin in 2017. So it's a few years behind, but it's getting there. And I think it complements Bitcoin more than it is a competitor to it. So I think a lot of people, they have this binary option. One, if this is a bunch of currencies, one currency must win. Essentially what we're doing though in cryptocurrencies, we're creating a decentralized financial system, something that we can do peer-to-peer. We don't have to do through the governments, which we haven't really seen outside like bartering in human history, right? So this is something that's absolutely revolutionary, and the governments are going to try to slow it down. But yeah, essentially having that in a decentralized fashion allows us to be able to do this. And I think in the future, as we get more of these coins, we're going to get more coins with kind of a niche. If you get another coin that tries to do the exact same thing as Bitcoin, boom, it's probably not going to have a good chance, because Bitcoin already has that network effect. It already has the marketing, already has the branding, already has the success and testing. So Bitcoin's role is going to be limited to what it currently is. Maybe it will grow over time to be what it is right now is more like digital gold, more of like a store of value. Over time, it may become more of a medium of exchange as it becomes easier to use. But for right now, that's where it is. Whereas Ethereum, right, is what we have as smart contracts. And then we have other, which is just, basically a way that we can create an agreement without having to, we have code automatically do that for us. And then there's going to be other things like Polkadot is a new cryptocurrency coming up, which right now we have Bitcoin and Ethereum and these other blockchains, but they can't talk to each other. It's like different databases that have no way to communicate. And so Polkadot allows these to communicate, makes scaling easier. We can do more transactions. We can do it faster. And so a lot of these problems will be solved by more of these cryptos coming out with different niches. But yeah, if anything tries to go up against Ethereum, there's a lot of them trying to right now, but I would say the majority of them that are going to compete directly with Ethereum are mainly going to lose. But I think Ethereum and Bitcoin have enough of a different lane that they complement each other more than they don't.
I always hear the criticism that like you can't use Bitcoin to buy anything. No, people are just seeing it as an asset and they're not actually using it to purchase things. I have actually accepted Bitcoin as for on my as done. I've got my, if you look at my description, you'll see my address there. Occasionally somebody will get, I think a lot of people are like kind of reluctant to like give up like, you know, some sucker like me. Right. So, but I did see this, and I've never seen this before anywhere until I was in Miami last week. And I saw an ATM, a Bitcoin ATM or a crypto ATM.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, those things actually exist now. Like you can actually convert like crypto to cash, like right there. They'll give you cash on your crypto account. And I was like, wow, how does that work? But let me. My other question is this: so we're looking at Bitcoin right now, which is at 52. What needs to happen, like in the markets, or like what needs to happen, like with businesses? What needs to happen, maybe even the government? What needs to happen to get the next kick up? Like right now, and as I was saying before we came on, we were talking about Tesla and all this other stuff, and how Tesla is now finally, decided that they're going to take. They've decided officially to take Bitcoin as payment for, I guess, a car or whatever it is they're selling, right? And so I'm looking at that, and I'm going, did that have some sort of market effect to kick up the investor, like I guess maybe the trust in Bitcoin? First of all, do you think that that's what happened? And then also, do you think that it's possibly like what's going on like politically in the world and everything else that's sort of made people decide that maybe it is a good investment? Now suddenly it's a wise investment? Because for the last 4 years, it's kind of like fluctuated. It's been up and down, and just sort of like, I don't think it got above 18 or 19, and 2017 was as high as it went. Now 2021, bang, everything's through the roof. And I'm just wondering, like, what you think is sort of the stimulators to get people to put more money, to see this as a viable, real kind of, investment opportunity for them. Did Tesla have something to do with that? And like, say, if Apple decided tomorrow to accept crypto, what would that do? Would that push it up to 100?
Yes, it would. There's a lot to unpack there. I mean, it's a huge amount of information, but in terms of the best way to attack that question is going to the kind of the core of what is kind of pushing up the price of Bitcoin, right? So one thing to understand is the supply demand dynamic with Bitcoin, right? In the fact that there's only 21 million coins, every 4 years, the supply gets reduced. If demand stays the same, the price will go up, or the value of that asset will go up. It's something similar to, if you're in a prison, you have 10 cigarettes and you have 5 guys in the room, they each have 2. Then all of a sudden you get rid of 5 of those cigarettes. Each guy has 1. The cigarettes are twice as much valuable, right? And then if you get rid of it and you only have 2 cigarettes, then all of a sudden they start fighting, right? So that's the kind of thing that's kind of the way that I would look at supply versus demand with Bitcoin. Is supply gets reduced, and so if demand stays the same, the price will generally go up. Now, obviously, as price goes up, demand goes up because people want to, they FOMO in and they chase it. So also the price eventually goes up too high, and that's where we get these bigger corrections. Now, another factor within this is simply the money supply of the US dollar. So most people are comparing Bitcoin to the US dollar, and they're looking at the price going up that way. So it is going up because of the demand going up and the supply being reduced, but it's also going up because of the weakening of the US dollar. So it's also basically showing there's a kind of a thing in crypto where 1 Bitcoin is 1 Bitcoin, right? It's always 1 Bitcoin. And the dollar is just showing the weakness of the dollar versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin is retaining its value, whereas the dollar is losing its value. So that's also one way to look at it. And then in terms of news, right? Kathy Wood from ARK Investment, she basically had a very good way of looking at it, which was if every corporation in the S&P 500 were to allocate 1 to 10% of their funds of their cash reserves to Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin could go anywhere from, at the time she was mentioning this, Bitcoin was around 40,000. It could go anywhere from an increase of $40,000 to upwards of a price of about $400,000. So that would have been, at the time, that would have been between about $80,000 to $400,000 was kind of her fair value, depending on how many of these corporations decide to, park their money from their treasury in that. So if Apple were to get into it tomorrow, yes, it would have a dramatic effect. And when Tesla got into it, the price of Bitcoin went up. In terms of the chart, I could take a quick look. It went up on that day. Specifically, it went up from $38,800, essentially $39,000 to $46,000, which was a pretty big move. Within a day with Bitcoin, that was, in terms of percentage, that was about a 23% increase. So that was twice as big of a normal day for Bitcoin, about a 10% fluctuation on a day-to-day in crypto is pretty normal. So 23% gain in one day is pretty big for crypto. And so that was confidence from Tesla mentioning that they had bought Bitcoin, but they had bought that Bitcoin about a month before that, right? And so the trajectory of the uptrend was already there. And then having that news on top of an already explosive trend just made it go up even faster, essentially.
Miguel, is there any like thing you're looking for? You're waiting for something to happen, like in the world, or like, you know, business wise, or, you know, like world events wise? Is there something you're waiting for that you think will affect the crypto markets?
So there's in a certain event. So crypto, I mean, since 2017, they've been trying to create an ETF for the cryptocurrency space. Bitwise is about the closest to it. So as soon as the U.S. government allows basically a company like Bitwise to essentially create an ETF, when that happens, it's going to be such a huge catalyst, because then from there, that essentially that stock ticker can be put on the equities market, and then through that, the equities market has a better funnel to start safely purchasing all the currencies. And more than likely, since it's going to be an ETF, it's probably going to be an aggregate of maybe the top 20 cryptocurrencies, weighted with a weighted market cap. So it's Bitcoin. Pretty much, Bitcoin's going to be the, you know, King Kong in the ETF at first, and then from there, the rest of the top 20 in percentages, in lower percentages. But then over time, they start creating a suite of more and more ETFs, a DeFi ETF, a Bitcoin only, and an Ethereum only, and then it just brings a ton of money into the space and kind of allows the kind of locked up money inside of 401ks to enter. There already is services like Grayscale that's offering this, but for some people, they want an actual ETF, where these are more like you have to sign up to the service and then you can buy it on a brokerage, because most of the shares on Grayscale that are being sold sort of as a second hand. So they were signed up to the Grayscale fund, and then from there took their funds off of there and moved it over to, like, let's just say something like Robinhood or but with that ETF, that can be worldwide. And then if the United States allows that ETF to happen, it is a cascade of money, because the minute the United States says it's okay, the rest of the world's like, oh, we got to keep up with the United States. Boom, boom, boom. Every country around the world to start releasing ETFs, because all the major institutions around the world are like, oh, I'm not going to fall behind the United States. And this is a tremendous amount of money to get in. And it's a really, really powerful sort of thing. That's why it hasn't happened just yet, because I think the government has been waiting for essentially cryptocurrencies to get up higher in market cap. So this is why this run up is so important, because the entire space is like $1.5 trillion right now. And as Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency space keeps growing, it becomes more and more liquid, that they're like, wow, this is not a little sandbox now. This is a serious thing. And then if you just look at the demographics of this, it's mostly the next generation. It's, you know, Xers, millennials, and the younger generation, you know, the Zs coming in, and then a lot of smart boomers that are funding this. But yeah, that is one big tell. When you see the ETF pass, Jesus Christ.
There we go. That's where we're waiting. Okay.
There we go.
I was going to ask this anyway, so I'll just throw this up there. So, what if the U.S. bans BTC? Is that a possibility? Is it a possibility that the government says, you know what, we're going to put the kibosh on this thing because we want to make sure. I was wondering this, and maybe this is me just being financial idiot here, but I know that a barrel of oil is tied to the U.S. dollar. What happens if a barrel of oil is now tied to Bitcoin? Or the potential of that exists? Is that when the U.S. government steps in and says, no more, we're gonna take over, we're gonna ban this?
Yeah, I would say
that they step in.
If you go back and look at some of the early history of Bitcoin, it was interesting. There was a few guys that were related to Bitcoin. I think one of them was Gavin Andresen, and he was actually called in by the CIA to give a talk on Bitcoin and say, like, is this a threat, or is this something that we should just be understanding? What is it? Right. And so they've had communication with people who really understand this at a core fundamental level. And they've decided essentially that, yeah, this is a technology that is interesting, that we think could grow, but we don't want to stunt its growth necessarily. It's not necessarily a direct threat, just is a tool. And so far they've let it grow. Now, could they decide to turn around and ban it? Yeah, India has done that. Other countries have done that. China has done that from time to time, and then come back and let it grow. So what if they were to ban gold, right? Did that ruin the effectiveness of gold globally? No, but yeah, they did try to do that for a short period of time, and they were able to confiscate it. Now with Bitcoin, they can't confiscate it, at least by force, right? You have to give them access to it, essentially. So that's the kind of the rub there. So I think if the government bans it, it just pushes it more underground again, and it still survives.
Ah, I see. Okay, so we're about 40 minutes in. I have to ask you guys, what is the course about? And like now that we've had this great, wonderful conversation, I like to throw these out there. I don't know. Am I asking you questions you've already gotten from like other like people before? Because I don't know that I am or I'm not.
Yeah, some of them, but then I think some of the other ones that you've asked have been a little bit more unique too. So we always have a good conversation with people. You always get some of the same questions because it is what it is, but then usually people have like a different angle to take on crypto in terms of what they're interested in. Yeah. So.
I want to. Okay, I got one last bonehead question for you, and then I want you guys to tell me like, what do we like if I'm signing up for the course, which I'm actually considering doing now. If I sign up for the course, I want you to tell me what I get. But I got one more question here, and this was from like my the guy who's the drummer in my band. He's a coder. He's a computer. He's a genius, right? I mean, that's why he's a drummer, right? Everything's very much mathematical to this guy. He was sort of he was hipping me, I guess, to the idea of quantum computing. And that when quantum computing comes into, when we have it, right? I mean, maybe we have it now, we just don't know it. But when quantum computing becomes a thing, he was saying that it will in some way invalidate crypto because it can break the cryptology, I guess, of it. What do you got? What's your read on like, say, if you know, if you don't, I get it. But like if you know anything about quantum computing, like say versus crypto, what would your opinion on that be?
So this is a real threat if crypto didn't evolve from here. They're already starting to create quantum computing based like mining algorithms. So Bitcoin essentially has SHA-256. That's its mining algorithm. So when it mines, if we started getting hints that these computers were starting to come out and they're close, the people in the Bitcoin Foundation would start updating Bitcoin essentially to maybe a better version of SHA-256 that's essentially resistant against quantum computing. But in terms of how powerful, people can't understand how powerful a quantum computer is. I mean, it's like AI. It would be AI. Joom knows everything instantly. Boom, would be able to shut down because everything's electronical. It would have complete control of the internet, your phone, all at the same time. I mean, that's how powerful it was. Yeah, Bitcoin would freeze, but literally everything, lights, electric system, the grid, complete control. That's how powerful quantum computing is. And they're nowhere near close. They've tried and tried, but at some point, sure, maybe. I mean, realistically, we're probably talking about 60 to 80 years before they really have one of those where it's a possibility. But
yeah, and then on top of it comes down to shared interests at that point, right? So if whoever first solves, right, the quantum computing problem and is able to hack into everybody's passwords, steal all their money, shut down the internet, shut down the power grid, all that stuff, will they want to, right? So who gets it, who does it first? That's kind of the question. So I think that would be something more to worry about in terms of for the internet and all technology related towards the internet in general.
Cool. Okay. Let me ask, gosh, I hate when I have to do this, but here we go. We got one sale already, so I got to put this out there. Sorry. My bad.
I love it.
It wouldn't be a live stream unless Don DeMarco shows up. Yeah. So what's a class about? I know nothing. Just pretend I know nothing about this. What do I get if I sign up for the class? Like what's the program about? What am I getting into? Obviously you're going to have like, Zoom calls, I would expect, but also like what else do I get along with that?
Definitely. So it's $697, right? Essentially, at the moment, one of our consultations is $500 per hour. So essentially, this is $697, and you're getting 20 webinars with us. So essentially, you're getting 20 consultations. So that alone, in terms of the value of the course, I believe is more than worth it. In cryptocurrency right now, there's no other course out there. There's nobody else out there who will teach you this face-to-face over a Zoom. Usually you get cookie cutter type stuff. So essentially what we're doing here is we're setting up a hive mind group of people to help each other out. So I'll just put you through the steps of the process of what to expect. So you purchase the course, you get an email that says, great, thanks for purchasing the course. Here's a link to the Discord. You join a Discord, which is a chat room with different organized places to talk about different subjects. When you get in the chat room, if you don't know what you're doing and you say, hey guys, I'm new to crypto, I need some help. Can you get me sorted with what exchanges do I need to set up? What do I need to set up all before the course? We have a lot of veterans in there who've been helping each other, helping different people out. Shout out to Greg. He's in the chat here. He's one of the guys who's been following us for a long time, and he basically gets everybody sorted. We have a few other volunteers as well, helping people get sorted. So then, we start the course on March 12th. So you have a few days to get everything sorted, get everything down the pipeline. And then once the course starts, we have 3 sections of the course. We have the first third of the course, which is to get everybody on the same page, get a foundation for the beginners, and a little bit of review for the people who've been in crypto a while. And then so we get everybody speaking the same language. That's the most important because we do give a lot of information in this course. Then we take a break, and then the second third of the course, we go into intermediate strategies, and then the last third of the course, we go into advanced strategies, and we just start peppering you guys with all the relevant information for Q2. And so there's a little bit of something for everybody within there. And we do all these webinars live. The way that they're structured is that we have 1 hour of a focused subject. Let's say, for example, staking. I see some people mentioning staking in the chat. We do a 1 hour presentation on what is staking, how to do staking, give some specific examples. Then we do a 1 hour still recorded of a focused Q&A for that subject. And then we stop the recording there and we put that out. So anybody who missed that webinar on that day can go back and review it. They can review it today. They can review it tomorrow. They can review it throughout the quarter and throughout the rest of the year. They always have access to that recording as long as you've purchased the course. Then we do a portion of the course, which is a non-recorded portion for about 1 to 2 hours after that. So our session can be anywhere between 2 to 4 hours within that session. We do that twice a day throughout 20 webinars. Now, that's a lot, right? And that's a lot of information for everybody. But you can, like I said, these are recorded. You can go back and review them throughout the quarter. If you don't attend any of the webinars live and you watch the recordings, you can get just as much value out of it because we have the Discord. We have the place you can come back to chat, ask any questions, and catch up with people. We share notes as well. We have people, different people taking structured notes and then giving that out to the group. So we make sure that there's no man left behind. We make sure that you make more than the course costs. We do our best to do that during the quarter as well. And so far, the majority of people who've taken the course have 2 to 5x their money within the 3 months that they've done the course. So we have a structure and we have a plan on how to do that. And then we communicate that throughout the course. And so it's something that's pretty comprehensive. It's something that in 2017, I didn't have. I didn't have a lot of people out there pointing me in the right direction. Had to learn all this shit from scratch. And man, that is a hell of a hassle, right? And you have to go through fire and, all sorts of stuff to actually do this.
Well, it's the Wild West, man. People don't know any, they don't know what they're getting. Hell, I didn't know what I was getting into back in 2017.
Exactly. So we help people to basically cut out, if you were to take all that information in the course, you're essentially cutting out about 5 years of research for yourself by doing that. And then also, if you're brand new to crypto, you just need some of the information. Maybe you don't need all the information in the course. If you just take like 2 or 3 of the webinars, you'll make more money just from those 2 or 3 webinars than the course costs. Plus, that'll probably save you on average about 1 to 2 years of hassle will point you in the right direction a lot faster than you would on your own, essentially.
Cool. Let's get into, I'll take us out here in just a second, but Captain Crunch says, what about capital gains taxes? Can you be taxed for the money that you profit off of Bitcoin?
Yes, you definitely can.
Do you have to declare it?
Yes.
Right? How do they know you have it?
I lost it in a boating accident. No, I'm joking.
So they just now put it on the tax forms. Do you own cryptocurrencies? Yes or no? Right. As well as most of your exchanges, especially if it's a U.S. regulated exchange, it's full KYC, which is know your customer. So when you sign up, you driver's license, you show your butt, turn around, social security number, all that jazz, right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. But at the end of the year, they're going to give you a tax form of what you bought. If you just bought and haven't sold anything, then you should you shouldn't have any tax liabilities because you haven't sold anything. But let's just say you bought some Bitcoin, it went up a lot, and you sold it into cash, or you sold it into Ethereum, then there is a tax liability there, and that they'll calculate on the sheet, and then you just take that to your tax consultant, basically, to figure out your taxes. One thing that we do have in the course is we do have a tax consultant for this course.
Wow,
yeah,
that's even better. Great.
yes, yeah.
He worked for the IRS as well, so he's worked for the private sector as well as the public sector.
Right on. Okay, Spin Doctor says this, programming is part of my skill set. Questions to the panelists. Are there any APIs, frameworks out there that I should check out as I get into crypto?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of frameworks or ways of coding, right? If you're looking to build a skill set in crypto, if you're looking to build anything on the Ethereum blockchain, which right now that's where most of the programming is happening in crypto, then you're going to want to learn this thing called Solidity. Just solid, ITY, Solidity. It's a programming language that's very popular in the crypto space for smart contracts. If you're a little bit more on the cutting edge in crypto and you want to work on projects that are a little bit more new, Polkadot and that ecosystem is growing very well, and it's based on Substrate, which is based on the programming language called Rust. So those two programming languages, Rust / Substrate, and then Solidity, those three would probably be the places to go. And then if you're just looking to get some data, right, there's different APIs that you can connect through different exchanges to get exchange data, if that's simply what you're looking for. So there's a lot of different things out here, but those would be the main forms of information that I think he is looking for.
Don DeMarco says, will Chase Bank work with crypto?
It already is.
Yeah, I would say so, isn't it? And then Ryan Sullivan asked me, never worry about taxes, focus on taking profits. Yeah. Because that's all, it's an asset right now. That's pretty much all you're doing. I look at it as another asset at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally I'll use it to buy certain things if they'll take crypto in the first place, or let's see, is there anything else I had on here? Coinbase, gay or nay, up or down? Do you like Coinbase or not? Because a lot of people I hate me because I still use Coinbase now and then. I do have a wallet. I have a Trezor. Is that a good idea? Is it better to have a like an offline wallet, or is Coinbase? Is that still secure enough to be using?
Yeah, Coinbase is like kind of a deal with the devil. You just have to be, comfortable with. It's like using JP Morgan, right? It is what it is.
I keep the majority of on my wallet. I don't on my Trezor. I only use that for.
No, you're 100% correct there. The Trezor is where it's at in terms of cold storage. But in terms of getting into crypto, they have kind of narrowed the on ramps that you can do. The entries and exits are rather narrow. It's harder to do that through a peer-to-peer way. So eventually, Coinbase is where you're going to have to deal with, but then get it onto your Trezor like you have and control that money yourself as soon as possible. That's a great idea.
Cool.
The most useful thing with like Coinbase is just basically it makes it easy for you to get some current cryptocurrencies. That's the main thing. Is what I notice a lot with especially people really new to cryptocurrencies is that they said, okay, I'm going to invest. But they don't treat it like an investment. They're really timid about it. So they don't set dollar cost averaging. They don't dollar cost average. They don't set a schedule for buying and stuff. So what ends up happening is they only buy when they see news. And what ends up happening over time is they don't purchase enough cryptocurrencies to where their goals are, right? So this is why you use kind of these automatic purchases. So you can set up like a weekly buy, a monthly buy, or maybe even a daily buy if that's what somebody wants to do. So you're able to kind of hit your goals, and then if you can just save up here on the side, and then when you see something in the market, maybe it dips down a little bit, you're able to then throw some firepower at it, and that way you're beating. That's a really big thing, is that people set these plans, but then they say they have a plan, but they don't have a plan. That's the problem, and it's that sort of thing.
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Right.
All right. What the hell? Why not? Here we go. Should I use Cash App to buy?
Yes.
You should use Cash App to buy.
No problem.
Do you think that too many people see, like, do they make comparisons to like PayPal or something? Like, what can I use crypto to buy with? I see crypto actually being accepted more and more. Especially right after it went up to 52,000. Suddenly that little icon comes out. Oh, we accept Bitcoin. But do you think that people make like maybe an unfair comparison, like saying, well, it's not like PayPal. At least I can see the money in my PayPal account and I can transfer it back to my bank account if I want to. Do you think that people make the mistake of seeing crypto as sort of like a payment processor?
Yeah, it has a lot to do kind of with the way because most people, they just know one coin, and that's Bitcoin, right? So, and a lot of people have read the Bitcoin white paper, and it's basically supposed to be a medium of exchange. But with the apps out here right now, so there is a distinction between like Coinbase to PayPal. With Coinbase, you can buy it, and then notice how you could just take it off after a day or two, when they allow you to move it, and then you can move it to your Trezor. With PayPal, it's a derivative, essentially. You can't move it off. You can only buy and sell inside of their app. And that's why we don't recommend PayPal for now. Eventually PayPal and Robinhood as well is the same thing. You can buy the coin, but you can't take it off the exchange, so it's not yours. So it's this whole thing of just having self-sovereignty over your money. If they're not allowing you to move your money off of their platform, then it's not really your money. And that's so Coinbase is that the whole deal with the devil. I know they charge fees and sometimes they're down, but at the very least, they make it easy for new people to get in the space and take their money off of there. That's the important part. Cash App, which is owned by Jack Dorsey, which is the CEO and founder of Twitter. The Cash App allows you to buy Bitcoin, take it right off. It's one of the fastest ways. Let's just say you had $5,000 of Bitcoin and you're like, oh shoot, I need $3,000. You could cash out and have money in your bank account in 30 seconds.
And that's what Cash App does.
That's what Cash App, but it's Bitcoin only.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if like big companies are going to standardize on just like one particular coin.
No, I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin are pretty much accepted on everything. When PayPal opened up the ability to buy cryptocurrency, those three were the first that were on their platform. So usually it's those three plus maybe a stable coin that ends up on most places.
I got Josh here too. Josh asked me this. He says, do you guys have any knowledge of rules for crypto or regarding taxes, etc., in other countries, Canada specifically, because that's where he is?
Yeah, we have several guys in our course who are Canadian and dealing with that. So if you do come into the course, Josh, I've seen you on MLD's show, by the way. So awesome stuff. But anyways, if you come into the course, we have plenty of Canadians that will help you out on that. Specifically, I'm not a tax consultant. I don't know that information about Canada. Another place I would look is bitcoin.tax. That website will also allow you to start looking at maybe getting in touch with some tax consultants in your local area, no matter where you are in the world. That can help as well.
Cool. Okay, well, we're at the end here. I just wanted to make sure that if you guys are interested in this, and I am now for sure, go ahead and hit the very first link in the description. Right there is the link to the crypto mindset. And when is it closing? When's the registration closing?
Tuesday, March 9th at midnight. If you don't get in by midnight Pacific Standard Time, sorry.
Right. I have a bad habit of like signing on with you guys last day. So I apologize in advance. Miami, there's nothing I could do about it. So anyways, so check that out. How many guys do you have already registered at this stage?
When we were just looking before, it was over 700. So we're expecting, about 1,000 people in the course. We still have a lot of people who are looking to get in and getting all their things sorted. So it should be pretty enjoyable.
Okay. Last one. Which one is better, Block or is better Block by Gemini?
Don't know exactly what he's asking.
I think he's asking is better BlockFi or Gemini.
Oh, okay.
Probably. I would probably trust Gemini a little bit more, but Gemini invests in BlockFi. They own it's the Gemini twins. They lost twins that own a percentage in that company. So essentially, you're essentially using the same thing, basically.
Mm-hmm. What do you say when people say that Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme?
Well, the world is a Ponzi scheme, essentially. But no.
But it's now a Ponzi scheme, apparently.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, the United States dollar is an absolute joke when it comes to that. But when they talk about gold and silver and those things, to be honest, the idea behind precious metals and crypto is very similar libertarian ideals. So the fact that Peter Schiff and guys like that don't understand the value of crypto or see where those two things intersect is kind of beyond me. I think crypto is an investment vehicle that can complement other things that you are doing. But like people generally get into this tribalistic state of being like, no, what I'm doing is the best. What I'm doing is the best. It's like, Well, there's a little bit of a good thing to be using crypto for. There's some good benefits for precious metals. There's good things for cash, in your daily life when you're using it. There's good things for stocks and other investments. You just have to have a well-rounded portfolio and understand that crypto is going to be here whether you like it or not. And it's going to be a place that you can make money. It's the best performing asset class over the last 10 years. And it's going to continue that this decade. So I think it's something that people need to start learning. And it is intimidating to start with. So we try to take that out, that intimidating factor out as much as possible and give it to you guys, straight and narrow.
All right, last question. Here it is. Don't give me any more. Okay. One last question to the panelists. What were one of your biggest mistakes in starting out?
I could say the biggest mistake I made in my first bull market was with this. I'll just mention the story briefly. It was this coin called Verge. So me and MLD were talking about these privacy coins being kind of hot in 2017, and we were looking at a bunch of them. And Verge was one of the ones we were watching, and I was watching it for a while. Saw its price; it was about a third of a penny, so it was penny stock, right? And then it went up a little bit, and then it dumped back down to that price, and I was like, looking like a pretty good price to get at. So I just bought it, right? I just bought like a good chunk of it. And then like a week later, John McAfee, who actually we did have on our Tokyo crypto show as well a while back before he got locked up. But we had him on the show. It was quite interesting. But anyways, about a week after that, he started talking about Verge. It pumped the price up to 30 cents from a third of a penny to 30 cents within like about a month and a half. I was like, yeehaw, I struck fucking gold. This is great, and I was high as a kite. But here's where the mistake came in. So that would have been the trade of the century for me, right? But here's where the mistake comes in, right? And this is what people fall into in a trap for crypto all the time, which is once it dropped down from 30 to 20 cents, I bought more, right? And I had something like, I think it was like 60,000 tokens and I wanted a cool 100,000 of them. So I bought 40,000 more and then the thing tanked. It was the end of the bull market. And, I lost all that money I'd put in there essentially. And so, the way to kind of describe that mistake is sometimes when something's moving up quite nicely, of course, A, take profits, especially your original investment when you can. And then B, don't keep chasing or don't keep increasing your average price. If you've got something at a very good price, right, you can focus on a different asset and get that at as a good price as well. But if you keep buying up the coin, essentially you're bringing up your average price so high that if it does go against you, then you went from a very profitable position to a very unprofitable position like that, and you don't want that. So that happens to everybody in crypto at some point if they haven't heard of that. So we try to share those stories with you guys. We have a whole webinar of what not to do with common mistakes so that you can avoid those things. Now, some people like to touch the fire even though you tell them it's hot. And for those people, it is what it is, but we try to at least warn you.
Yeah. Cool.
What about you, Miguel?
Miguel, yeah, go ahead. So what was your biggest mistake?
I probably staying in my shell too long. I was like, I thought I knew everything in terms of when I first got into cryptocurrencies because I bought Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, and I was like, everything else is bad. And basically, I was holding it for 6 months, and then what ended up happening was I was like, oh, there's other cryptocurrencies out there, so I ended up wasting time. So not continuing my education in the space was something that really cost me a lot of money because I was pretty early on compared to most other people. Most people kind of came in probably towards the last 3 months of the year. I got in since like late 2016. So I was there for the whole run up. I did make a good sizable amount of money, but the problem was like I wasn't taking chances in terms of just continuing to research other coins. And what money left on the table pretty much, yeah. But it was.
I was regretting the money you didn't make. Yep. All right, guys. So this has been a good talk. I'm definitely interested. I'm going to do this. Like I said, I like to audit the classes that I get behind. So I would definitely like to check this out. If you guys want to check it out as well, as you're saying, there's a lot of people already signed up, and you got about 24 hours to sign up. I'm sorry. So, anyways, if you want to get involved in it, my link to all this is the first one that's in the description, as you can see below. Give it a shot, and if you are involved in this, if you guys decide as a result of this or anybody else's, video as a result, let me know. Let me know that you got something out of it. I think that's the best way. A lot of people want to say, oh, it's just these Kajabi classes and everybody's a big scam, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, you guys are saying, you're going to make the money back for the price of the actual, and it's not any more expensive than most other classes that I'm looking at right now anyways. But in this one, you stand at least the potential to make the money back. So why not? So if that's what if you're into it and that's what you want to do, go ahead and click the link that's down below. And then let me know what you think. As always, like whenever anybody does a class, I don't care who it is, even if it's Aaron Clary, doing his classes, I want you guys to let me know and give me some feedback on this to say, hey, this is worthwhile. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me. Again, that ends tomorrow at midnight, right?
Correct.
Tuesday at midnight. It's probably Wednesday in Japan right now, but
yep.
Anyways, tonight or tomorrow night in the United States. So you got about 24 hours, just a little bit over 24 hours to sign up. So helps me out if you do so. If not, whatever. Hopefully this is giving you some information and maybe you want to start trading. Maybe you want to start getting into this. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me. And I will, I'm going to take the class. I want to do it now. So
perfect.
All right, guys.
We'll take care of you, bro.
Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.